everyone. This is my second video for the night, and I'll be turning in later just to have a relatively early night. As you all know, that I've been actually pretty busy now that I've gotten back, but I actually feel the need to actually continue making these videos, and I actually feel confident that with these videos, I can further, offer support to people who have actually been in um, the community of narcissistic abuse and who have actually encountered a narcissist or narcissist in their life before. Okay, and I want to actually offer some comfort to them. Okay, I'm going to talk about this topic of the multiple deaths of the narcissist. Okay, the multiple deaths. Okay, I just put a D dot. Okay, as the short form. It can mean ED as in ego death. Okay, it can also for some people who have a sense of humor, it can also means uh, death of that thing in between the legs for the male narcissist, or something else, or even for the female narcissist, meaning erectile dysfunction. Okay, which is a form of death, according to the Greek language, thanatos, which means death, but also means death of that thing, the member in between once you actually have ejaculated rich orgasm. I'm actually laughing, but okay. I'm just gonna like go on and talk a little bit more about death and the narcissist, how it's related. I think that most of y'all might not really be aware. I actually made a joke once to one friend about narcissist. I mean, he doesn't believe it because, although claiming that his last ex was narcissistic, I was telling him, oh, I mean, that friend is gay, so I'm just like talking to him. Oh, don't worry, your ex is gonna suffer from erectile dysfunction. And my friend was like, what? I mean, me being me, I'm very irreverent, so I don't care, that all these narcissists who's always whether he or she whether they're always bragging about their virility or their female sexuality. I don't really care because I think ultimately the eventual fate of all these people in terms of death would be the failure of that member, the male or female member in their body. Why do I say that? I think that one thing we know is that the male or female narcissist who's a somatic, uh, they cannot live without sex. I mean, they can be with you in a relationship with you, but they keep on actually screwing around, sleeping with many people. In I mean the I mean in the sense of the word from Sex and the City, according to what the character of Samantha Jones actually said. Uh, I mean, typically the philosophy of life of the somatic narcissist is this: I'm a trisexual, Try, yeah, try something new. I'm a trisexual. I'll try anything once. That is pretty much the male or female somatic narcissist um, declaration of life. So I mean, don't be surprised you have a male somatic narcissist who's like supposedly very heterosexual, very masculine on the on the surface, but I mean in actuality they are into very weird situations, such as they are really gay or on the down low, or I mean they could be bisexual, or I mean actually they could be just gay, secretly, and or they could be into very weird things like bestiality or pedophilia or whatever, or into sex with trannies. Uh, there are such people, and then for the let's say for the the homosexual um, male or female somatic narcissist. I mean, they could claim to be with the the same sex, but it doesn't matter. They could still seduce someone of the opposite sex, and either get into a bed with them, or if not, seduce them emotionally to use them, and I mean, they would just say, oh, it's just that one night I just needed something to put my thing in, or to put that thing into me, whatever, but that's who they are. So and of course for the female is she could be claiming to be with you, I mean if you are the guy, but behind your back she's sleeping with many other people, man or woman. A very good example being Amber Heard, who was caught kissing or being intimate with various men and women, including the this very famous um, was like a celebrity, Cara Delevingne, yeah, who was an activist for feminist rights and who claims to be non-binary or at least lesbian. Yeah. So okay, but other than the thing about the ED, okay, I mean they claim to do that all the time, but I think that if you were to look at it from a very psychological point of view, with constant use of that member, male or female, in their body, um, it actually reaches a point where the more they use it, the more they will become picky. They actually would think that particular partner that they're with doesn't match up, and that leads to a kind of performance anxiety. Or the thing is wear and tear. I'll be honest, there's wear and tear for such body parts, and I do not know how to explain the physiological bits, but the more you use it and without any proper care for it, yeah, the more you damage it, and the psychological bits can actually cause harm when you do not have sex with emotional connection. Yeah, it's just like a machine. The more you use a machine, it still actually breaks down in the end. Yeah, so that is the first death. Okay, erectile dysfunction or vaginal failure. Okay, it does happen. Okay, or any other failure of any other part, any orifice that they use in sex. Okay, that's one aspect of it. Aspect of that death. Okay, I think the other aspect of that death that they experience, I think is much more common. That doesn't just apply to somatic narcissists, but it applies to virtually all narcissists. Yeah, whether the narcissist is actually a spiritual narcissist, cerebral, meaning that someone who thrives on the brains or the skill or some aspect of intellect, or let's say whether it's like a covert or overt narcissist. The aspect of death would be what I think is manifested in the element of ego death. Okay, when I say ego death, okay, it also rhymes. Not rhymes. That's like it's also ED alongside erectile dysfunction. But I mean ego death in a different way because if you were to think about it, the narcissist is always putting forth a false persona. This is the false persona that they're using to seduce you, to deceive and mislead you, and sometimes even to manipulate you, to lead you into trouble, into whatever they claim to be doing or want you to do. And this actually stops as soon as they start discarding you, or as soon as they even start devaluing you. Yeah, saying that you're useless, you're horrible, you're bad. That is the point when the mask, yeah, the mask based on their ego starts slipping off. And the very point when they discard you, that mask falls off completely. Okay, and that ego persona that they have fashioned will die. Yeah, so that is why actually a narcissist has so many different selves at one time. Okay, they can be showing this particular self to you. Okay, but this self is not the same self or same facade they show someone else who's like maybe their friend, open and close inverted commas, or their family members, or even society in general. So the narcissist is a man or woman of multiple mask. Okay, they're wearing different masks. So it's I know it sounds a bit exaggerated, but the thing is, you don't even know which mask is the real self of the narcissist. Okay, so but once they discard you, or once you discard them to cause them injury, um, that particular ego self, that one false self that they have depicted or shown you, will die, because they have to now go on to a different source of supply. They will have a new self, a new false self that they will fashion for some new victim, some new supply. Okay, so with all these multiple these multiple deaths, it's a little bit like that. Those kind of movies, the horror movies where you kill one person, you kill one monster, the monster rises again. Kill one monster, that thing rises, fall. It's a. I mean, how monstrous does it get that the narcissist is behaving that way? Okay, nothing is real. Because if there's something real beneath all those different layers and different masks, or different ego selves, or ego facades, um, it's very likely that one true self is a very pathetic, a very despicable, and very evil self. Okay, you don't want to have anything to do with it. It's like the Wendigo. The Wendigo in North American, in North American Native Indian mythology on the northwest coast, along the Pacific Northwest, basically stretching from let's say Oregon up north to Canada, yeah, basically to Vancouver Island and British Columbia, yeah, the whole coast. There's this idea that the Wendigo actually is this creature that um, it pretends to be human. Sometimes it can morph into a human form, although its real form is somewhat like a cross between a deer. Yeah, it has a deer's head or whatever, but it's combined with that of a wolf's body, but it's very humanoid, and it actually feast on human hearts. So the myth is that I mean that it goes that the Wendigo can only be killed by silver bullets, much like vampires. And on top of that, you actually have to decapitate it, chop up its various parts, and also keep the heart away from the different body parts. And yeah, killing it is not enough. Yeah, killing with bullets, and it can also appear as a man. But what gives it away uh, are the eyes. The eyes are bloody red. Yeah, and this something like the narcissist? The narcissist keeps on dying, living again, dying, living again, and in this metaphorical sense of all these false selves. So nothing can be real, nothing can be really trusted. Yeah, I hope that everyone will realize that this is what they really sign up for when you are in a relationship with a narcissist. Okay, there are multiple ego deaths, and none of it actually levels up. Yeah, they keep on repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, and that is why it's a really deep-seated spiritual disease, something that they chose to do, okay, to be in. um, other than the so-called erectile dysfunction I was jokingly talking about, the ego deaths are actually the more not more I mean they are the scariest part of the whole thing about a narcissist. Okay, you don't want to have anything to do with that. You don't want to be caught up in those charades. Okay, I hope everyone has a good night. Okay, thank you, bye bye.